The Boston Celtics continue their winning ways in Game 1 versus the Dallas Mavericks in these NBA Finals. The final score for this game was 107-89. So this game, I was very much curious to see how Kristaps Porzingis was just going to be integrated into the starting lineup after his 38-day hiatus, courtesy of an injury that he incurred in the first round in that Celtics versus Heat series. And the Dallas Mavericks they're just coming off a grueling five game series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I really was looking forward to seeing how that duo of Kyrie and Luka was going to look against the Boston Celtics. And in the lead up to this game one of these NBA Finals, a lot of people did not really like the Boston Celtics. The NBA mainstream media, a lot of people, especially on YouTube, X, and Instagram, were saying that, also clutch points. They came out and said that the Celtics had the easiest path to the finals, and a lot of people just want to see the Celtics lose, but the Celtics just silenced the noise out and just kept their head down, and they just play well. Especially Kristaps Porzingis, just to open up the NBA Finals. He had a very good performance, a very solid one, especially to start for a player that was injured for a significant part of the series, for a significant part of the postseason. He came out, he had a 20-point performance. A majority of his points, he got them in the first half. And without his burst, I don't think the Celtics would have had a chance of winning this game, because the Dallas Mavericks, their shots were just off in this game one, and they're not able to score everything. So I watched this game early in the morning, and I went ahead and just rewatched it. As per recording this video, I've just watched the joint about 2 or 3 times so that I can be able to just see a couple of things that maybe I had missed when the game was happening live. But honestly, I'm very impressed with these Boston Celtics. I knew for a fact that Kristaps Porzingis being back, he will stylistically be a problem, especially for the front court players in the Dallas Mavericks. So I've seen Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. They have been very solid, especially in the front court. Derek Lively, he's a rookie in there, and also solid contributions from PJ Washington. But the guy that stunk the house when it came to shooting was Kyrie. I was looking at Kyrie's performance, wasn't the greatest, and look at Doncic. He didn't look like he was weak, and he was just going in and just getting through his motions. But Kyrie, he had a very bad performance with a 12-point game. He shot up very small, 6 of 19 in shooting. But looking at the way the Dallas Mavericks were setting up for the Boston Celtics, I don't think they were ready or prepared, because we have seen that backcourt duo of Kyrie and Luka tear apart and be one of the most lethal backcourts and lethal scoring duos in these postseasons. But looking at how the Celtics have been made, how they're set up, having Jrue Holiday in there. I saw a very interesting post that Jrue Holiday said when he was asked about how to guide Kyrie, he just said the only thing you could do is just pray. So that I found that was actually quite funny. But looking at the way the Celtics are just set up as a team, and the way they're structured in their offense, you have either Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown going off, lockdown defender in Jrue Holiday, have a good front court player in Al Horford. Then you have Kristaps Porzingis there. So they are very, very good options, especially off the bench. You have Derek White there. And the Celtics, as we speak right now, they're only 3 games away from winning the NBA title. And I know this is just game 1, so it's just one game. But looking at the solid contributions of Jaylen Brown, I must say, he has not been receiving a lot of flowers, especially throughout his career. But I'm so happy that he got the recognition he deserves, winning the East Finals MVP. And since then, he has not skipped a beat, because in this game, he was just straight up two-way. He scored 22 points. He had 3 blocks, 3 steals, 2 assists, and 6 rebounds. And he was 7 of 12 from the field, and he played a total of 37 minutes. So the man played heavy minutes in there, and he was downright effective. And he was that player that we've always been wanting to see this version of. And Jason Tatum, he didn't have a good game at all, scoring-wise. He had a double-double of his own, 16 points and 19 boards. But he was actually quite efficient because looking at the other things that he did, he had a block, he had 5 assists, but scoring-wise, a lot of load was taken off him because other players also chipped in. We had Derek White, he had 15 points, Drew Holiday had 12, Al Horford had 10, and Kristaps Porzingis had 20. So Sam Hauser had 8 points. So a lot of scoring. The scoring load was not put solely on Jason Tatum, and I must say he didn't have a very good performance scoring wise, but still the other players in the team stepped up. Even seeing a guy like Derek White score 15 points, that was actually spectacular. He also had 5 assists. He has been one of the X factors for this Boston Celtics team. And looking at how the Celtics were just clicking and the way they just started off the game was very strong, because in the first quarter they had 37 to Dallas's 20, and they just, after that, scoring barrage that they had in the first quarter, they just continued. Even with the Dallas Mavericks trying to keep the game close, they couldn't be able to do that because majority of the shots they were shooting were not going in, especially Kyrie. Kyrie had the most worst game I've seen. I've never seen Kyrie look like this. He was 6 of 19 from the field. Luka Doncic, he had 13 points, but looking at the way he played, he was 12 of 26. From downtown, he was 4 of 12. At some point, I really did not like him just forcing up shots from downtown, and they were not happening. And one thing that I even saw with Luka Doncic, late during the game, I saw his leg. He was making a grimace, and it suggested that the injuries are kind of catching up to him. And that thing really pulled me up a back, because if he continues to carry the load, when let's say Kyrie does not show up in these good games, in these NBA finals, there's a high likelihood that this Dallas Mavericks can be spent, and they're not going to be able to even do anything significant, because if Luka Doncic, the way he's been playing injured and the way he's been playing, and Kyrie's not being able to help in scoring. And one interesting thing that I saw with the Dallas Mavericks, when Luka Doncic, when they sub out and Luka Doncic is on the bench and Kyrie is there orchestrating the offense, they get outscored by the Boston Celtics because Kyrie is not a good defender. He's not known as a good defender. I know a lot of people really like to see entertaining basketball and they really like to see Kyrie's handles, but realistically in the NBA Finals, you need a player that can be two-way and can also facilitate and make other players on his team better on the floor. So a lot of times without Luka Doncic there and Kyrie's just there alone, there's a high likelihood to get outscored as much. And the Celtics just know how Kyrie plays, and Kyrie has been a Celtic, and the Celtics are just taking out their revenge on the Dallas Mavericks, especially Kyrie, because the Boston Celtics fan base, they had an effigy there, and they really, really do not like Kyrie, and they really like to see Kyrie lose. And in this big stage, there's a high likelihood that things can get very chippy. I know there was not a lot of flipping off from Kyrie, because this season he just took a different approach, and he was not very antagonizing that much, especially during the game. But in the post game, he said something that was very interesting. He said that the crowd was not louder. I don't know why Kyrie finds the need of just riling up the Celtics fan base, especially knowing for a fact that the Celtics have one of the most lethal and toxic fan bases in the NBA, and pissing them off is not a good move at all, especially when you have a very, very bad performance like this. And Kyrie played 37 minutes and he was 6 of 19 with 12 points and a plus-minus of minus 19. So he has not had a good game at all. Luka Doncic is trying, but you can see the injury bug is catching up to him. And Kyrie going 0 for 5 from downtown, that was a very big problem, because a lot of times he was just chucking up the ball and his shots are not going in at all. And that was very, very concerning. But looking at the Celtics, I was very excited to see the Celtics just clicking, especially they taught us in game 1 how to play good team basketball. It doesn't matter who scores the most points, but looking at how to engage everyone and have your starters just score and find open looks, that was something that was very interesting to see. And those shots were just going in. can see Derek White, he was 5 of 11, Jaylen Brown 7 of 12, Jrue Holiday was 4 of 9. It's just only Jason Tatum, he was a bit inefficient in his scoring, and there was no much productivity on that side of the ball, and that's why he took a step back a bit and he just did a bit of facilitating, because he had 5 assists in this game. So that is something that is also commendable. And I know a lot of superstars and also a lot of NBA analysts are going to put some flack on Jason Tatum, but honestly, when your shots are not falling, you just have to find a way to also be effective during the game. You just can't, just just keep chucking the ball up. And Jason Tatum, even despite not showing up on the scores, he led the Celtics with 11 boards. So he led the Celtics with 11 boards. He had more rebounds than Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford in the game. And I was very much pleased with how the Celtics handled, especially how they handled and they dealt with Luka and Kyrie, because that duo has been a huge problem when it comes to just in the playoffs, because OKC were not able to deal with them. The LA Clippers in the first round were not able to deal with them. The Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that was a shoo-in to make the NBA Finals, they were not able to deal with Luka and Kyrie. But the Celtics, given how they've been able to rest up, and they've had a lot of days off. They have not had long series, so they're very fresh in their legs. So they have the ability to even challenge, and they have the ability to go in and have a lot of energy in the tank. So Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, that duo is just sensational, and they're just 3 wins away from winning the whole NBA Finals. I know Game 2 is just going to be a different story, because I've seen Dallas Mavericks. They've been losing a couple of Game 1s, and there's interesting statistics I've seen that when a team wins Game 1, they have a 70% chance of winning it all. But hey, OKC, they won Game 1, but they lost 4 straight. So that's just how it is. They're so unpredictable. This is just Game 1, so I'm just waiting to see how the Dallas Mavericks are going to set up for Game 2, and also the Boston Celtics are going to set up for Game 2. And honestly, I just like it. So Jaylen Brown, he scored 22 points, and Kristaps Porzingis just had a very good game. Porzingis, he made an immediate impact off the bench and added 20 points from the Boston Celtics, and he powered past the Dallas Mavericks with ease. And Derek White, his 15 points were just very good. So Porzingis is a 7-footer. He was sidelined since April 2019. He had 6 rebounds and 3 blocks in just 21 minutes. So he was just sensational. So the last Celtics player to enter the court for pregame warm-ups, that's Kristaps Porzingis. He was there, and I was so happy to see his announcement when the Celtics beat the Pacers, when they swept the Pacers. They were just, Kristaps Porzingis was being reintroduced into the squad. He had a very successful scrimmage, so I was just waiting to see how the Celtics were going to use him. And the Celtics were able to unlock Kristaps Porzingis and use him in a very effective way, better than how they used him. The Dallas Mavericks used him when they traded for him from the Knicks. So that's one thing that I was very much interested in. And honestly, if you look at the whole game in its entirety, there was no way the Celtics are going to lose that, because even going into halftime, the Celtics were up huge. And looking at the whole game in its entirety, there was no weak spot on the Celtics. They distributed their scoring load on all players. Every single player is able to just find his spots and pick his spots and knock it down when they get the open shot, and they were just creating the most easiest shots. And the Dallas Mavericks, the main concern that I have with them is they have a tendency of taking difficult shots every single time, and I really don't understand it. And they have the ability to just craft plays for both Luka and Kyrie, so they have to stop taking them tough shots. And if you look at the Boston Celtics, they are very calculated when it comes to playing. And speaking of even being calculated, I even saw Pep Guardiola. He was there. I really don't like the Man City team, but I saw Pep Guardiola there with Coach Joe Mazzulla. That was actually quite interesting. But anyway, I'm very optimistic with these NBA Finals. I picked the Mavs in 7 because I felt like the Dallas Mavericks and be able to do something significant in this series. But looking at how game one has played out, I must say you can't write off the Dallas Mavericks because it's just game one. So hopefully you can be able to see what can happen in game two. The Celtics can have the ability to go up 2-0. And when the series goes to Dallas, that's when you'll know what's going to happen. So the Celtics gearing up for game two. That game will happen early Monday morning where I'm at, because I'm watching this game from Nairobi, Kenya. And this game happened way early in the morning, like 3:30 a.m. So when I caught the game, man, my head was just spinning because it was way, very, very early in the morning. But courtesy of League Pass, I was able to watch the joint a couple of times, so I can be able to just go ahead and just make this video. But I'm very much excited to see how the Celtics have been able to pull through this game one. And the way that if the Celtics keep playing like this, there's a high likelihood that they can even go up 2-0 on these Dallas Mavericks. They're able to defend home court and be able to steal a game on the road, because it is very important you're able to defend home court. And the Celtics defend home court, it becomes easier. But my main focus is seeing how Luka and Kyrie are going to play. Luka is a bit questionable, and I don't know how his leg is, because he had a grimace. When he was running, there was late in the game, he just didn't look right. And Kyrie, hopefully he doesn't piss off the Boston Celtics fan base and they come after him, because I heard of some faint chatters of Kyrie sucks there, and also that effigy that was being stomped on at the TD Gardens. But anyway, just things that are happening off the court. But on the court, I'm very much excited. I really like the way these two teams, their jerseys and the colors mixed in the court, looks very good, I must say. And yeah, man, I mean, if you guys like the video, make sure to leave your feedback down in the comments. So I'll just be making videos after the games. I know I've been making videos. I wait for a couple of games to happen so I can make a video. But in these NBA finals, I just try to make videos and be consistent with the uploads. So stay tuned to that. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notified. And I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.